guys, what's going on? It's Nick from DesignsAcademy, and today I'm going to be bringing you guys part 1 of a 2-part tutorial on modeling an isometric view room, sort of a low poly-ish style. Not 100% low poly, but sort of similar. Part 1, which is this video, is going to be setting up the kind of cube room, setting up the lighting, and setting up some of the render settings. So yeah, part 2 will be all of the modeling, and I'll be giving you guys some tips on what I do when I model the rooms. Hayden's loud ass chair in the background. If anyone doesn't know, Hayden and I live in the same room now, so that's fun.
If you haven't seen our last tutorial, go check it out. It's how to create, or steps to creating a style, very useful.
Okay, a little self-promotion there from Hayden. Also, one thing that a lot of people got wrong, a video we put up last week about the second channel. People kind of busted a nut thinking we were changing the DesignsAcademy, but if you were concerned about that, it is going to be on a completely separate channel, which the link is in the description for that second channel. It's called the Fun Academy. We're going to be doing a lot of cool stuff in there. But anyway, we're going to get into this tutorial. I'm going to create a cube real quick, and we're going to make it flat, something like that. You'll see if you don't move your camera right off the start, it's in kind of an isometric view, but to get our actual view, we're going to get our camera. We'll have it selected so it's actually in the frame, and to under here where it says projection, right now it's click to perspective. You're going to want to change that to isometric, and what that's going to do is change it to an isometric view camera. And as you can see now, the camera is basically in a locked isometric view. So we'll zoom in a little bit over here, center the camera, and then I'm going to put a tag. So we'll just go to Cinema 4D tags protection, and that'll make it so that I can't move the camera around at all. Once like that, it's nice when you're modeling isometric because you can change it out of isometric just by unclicking the camera. So now that we've got our first cube squared up right in the middle, you can model these rooms however big you want. Something around there should be good. You can also make it small or big. It doesn't really matter. It depends on how good your computer is. You can always choose what you want. I'm going to make this a little thinner, so you want something around there. We'll just call the Y 5 centimeters, and that should, I don't know, 54 or 5. And that should be a good starting platform. There's a couple of ways that you can do the two walls, which when you're doing an isometric view, you usually want it to be something like this, where you can see these two back walls, and these walls are like kind of invisible. So there's a couple ways to do that. I'm just going to do it the really easy way. Alright guys, so how we're going to create the back two walls is we're going to take this bottom plane, gonna duplicate it, and I'm just gonna rotate it 90 degrees upwards, holding shift to get those nice angles, and we are going to just put it over here and pull it up. Now you might want to make these walls a little bit shorter than the floor. Oh, that is on the wrong side. That might be good for it to be on the right side. You might want to make them a little bit shorter than the platform, because obviously if you had it just like this one, your walls are going to go pretty high up. So we'll just move this one over here. So if we have it like the normal room, obviously it looks a little high, so maybe you want to have it down here. So we'll just change the X value a little bit. Get something more like that. Get out of the isometric view so we can match it up down here on the side. Out just a little bit, move it up a touch, and we're actually gonna have it go in a little bit. Then you can mess around with this and get it perfect if you want to. It's not too important because you really won't see things like that. And then we'll duplicate this again and rotate this to be the other wall, again holding shift to get the increments of 10 on the rotation degrees. And we're just going to slide this over here. Really the most important thing here is that the back corners match up so there's no gap. And we'll move this one in here a little bit so that you can't see that little bit on the end. Same thing over here. Oh, move that back that way. And something like that is pretty good. Now I'm going to unlock my camera real quick since we've got our walls. Now I'm going to reposition it, zoom out a little bit, and put the lock back on the camera. Remove this cube up here too. So now we've got our isometric camera and our basic cube that we're going to be putting our room in. Now the next step is going to be our 3 lights that we're going to be using for this scene. We're just going to be using normal lights. You can obviously use soft boxes or anything like that if you want, but I'm going to use no plugins or add-ons in this so that anyone can do it. This first light is going to be kind of the overhead light. So you can see I started it, and since we've centered our box on our sort of plane area in Cinema 4D, we can just pull it straight up and it'll be directly above the middle of the room. Now something around there should be good. You just want to have it over your scene, and we're going to change the intensity down a bit, down to about 80-ish. Lights are something that you kind of got to tweak a lot depending on the items and materials you're using for your room. So this is just kind of a default setting, but you can tweak the intensity and also the colors you'll see in the next 2 lights. So we'll spawn another light, put it up a little bit here to just about there, kind of 3/4 of the way up the room, and then I'm going to move it along the blue axis until it's out of the room around here, and then we'll move it this way just a touch. And this is going to be our blue light, so we're just going to go over here to this kind of a light blue and make it a very slight blue, because this will show, as you can see, it just changed quite a bit from changing to blue. So we might even, alright, so now we're going to turn down the intensity of this one as well a little bit. You usually don't want to have 100% lights in your scene because it'll just wash out all the colors. So we're going to turn that down to about 70, and that should be good. And then we're going to put in our last light. We're going to put it about the same position on the other side as we did with our blue light, but this one is going to be yellow. So we'll go in here, make this just kind of barely yellow. You probably want to go more on the orange side of a yellow, and then we can turn the intensity down, and we'll probably turn our blue light down just a touch and turn our yellow light up a little bit. The yellow is always pretty soft in the scene because it is a little more difficult for it to show up. So you can see our lights here, and if we just do a quick render without any render settings, you can see I like to use a white material for these rooms. Just good kind of reflective surface for it to go off of. Unclick specular. This is just a little default material for this. And we'll turn this down quite a bit because I do want it to be shiny but not super reflective like a mirror. And we'll drag this onto the room just so you can see a little bit better the lighting. You can see it's kind of glowing. And from this, maybe we'll turn our blue light up a little bit. This is just a lot of tweaking, and it looks like our overhead light's a little too bright. Let me turn down this a bit. You don't want the colors to wash out. You want it to add. So you can see here we've got our nice shadows, blue, yellow, good complementary colors. So now that we've got our lights and our room set up, we're just going to go through and add a couple things to our render settings. Output, you can do whatever size that you want. You know, something along these lines is usually good. I'll do this because that's the size of my desktop. Resolution is also up to you. 72 is a pretty standard, but I like to usually go pretty high up and do 300 because it makes it look nice and crisp. And all these should be good. You should be able to leave these. We won't be messing around with frame rates or anything because this isn't an animation. You could turn it into an animation if you want, but we won't be doing that. And under render settings, or under effects, sorry, we're going to be adding ambient occlusion and global illumination. Now you can mess around with these if you want, if you do know what you're doing. I am going to turn samples up to high so it's a nice a nice crisp shadow. Ambient occlusion, we'll leave that. Not too much you need to mess around. You can mess around with all these things, but these are just making all of our lights look better. I'll resize the camera really quick just so that it fits in our new region that I've created with the aspect ratio. And here we go. Now we've got our basic setup. We're ready to start modding. You can see the effects of the render settings kicking in now. It's going to render it out. It's going to look a lot nicer than it did before. So there we go. We've set up our basic room. One last thing, in your save, you're going to want to set this to somewhere. We'll just name this low poly room tutorial. A lot of people will wonder why when they save like Lightrooms and stuff they can't render out the things. It's because your file is set to save to someone else's computer, which obviously you can't do. And we're going to set this as a PNG. You could do a JPEG also, it doesn't really matter unless you want the transparent part, which is also good depending on what you're going to do after you're done with the model. So that's our basic setup for this render. We'll do low poly tutorial. Next week I'll be going over some of the things that I like to do when I'm modeling the furniture inside of these rooms, some of the materials, and also just some other little tips to help you try and do this. Hope you guys enjoyed this kind of quick part 1 of this tutorial. If you did, don't forget to leave a like. It helps us judge how the videos are going. Hayden's doing a majestic stretch right now. Yeah guys, if you want to see part 2, it'll be here.
Like this video. Just kidding, like it.
Yeah, don't just like it, that's not nice.
Here, let me do this for Nick. If you enjoyed the video, like the video. If you found this video helpful, like the video. If you want a second part of this video, like the video. Liking the video is very important. So
basically just like the video. Yeah, that's about it. Like, subscribe for more videos. It's been Nick from Design.
Down below if you had questions about this or anything like that.
Also, comment down below any tutorial ideas you want us to do.
Also, little fun thing, if you watched all the way, on Jaden's next upload, call him a squid. All you guys comment, he's a squid down below.
Yeah, next upload, call Jaden a squid. Alright guys, it's been Nick from DesignsAcademy. Peace.